FRQ number 2, Mashup, by Mark Haver. The question. 8. Discuss the political ideas and practices of the Sans-Culottes. How did they differ from those of the Jacobins? Explain the radical tendencies of the Sans-Culottes. Who do you think dominated and controlled the Mountain Sans-Culotte coalition, and why? During the French Revolution, several different groups tried to seize power. Whether it was to better the rights of the poor people and condemn injustices committed by the ruling class, or to support the absolutist rule, one group, the Sans-Culottes, dominated France. This group of typical French citizens helped shape modern France. The Sans-Culottes were a defined force opposed to the traditionalist, unfair ways of the nobility and monarchy. They sought any person decorated in the aristocratic manner, as the wealthy were resented at that time, and wanted their blood. The poor became poorer, while the wealthy became richer, and the Sans-Culottes and everyday workers were being totally oppressed by the wealthy. The monarchy not only displayed frivolous bouts of wealth, but created unfair taxes and laws that made it even harder for the poor to survive. The Sans-Culottes wanted a democratic system where the poor could be treated substantially better. They thought every man should be treated equally and wanted to develop a fair system. This would be their version of a fair France for the future, and those who challenged them or represented the ways of old France would be guillotined. In order to destroy the giant gap between classes, they wanted to practically eliminate the aristocrats. However, the Jacobins were based on more international affairs. They wanted to strike down supporters, foreign and domestic, of the émigrés and counter-revolutionaries. They also formed a militant group that would drive the Prussians from Paris. Views of government between the Sans-Culottes and Jacobins also differed. The Jacobins started to create a distorted leadership that ignored their original ideas of democracy and liberty through equality, and blossomed into a dictatorship. In addition, the Sans-Culottes allowed women to play large roles in aristocratic opposition, while the Jacobins remained sexist and did not accept women's ideas. The Jacobins' government was plagued with struggle between the Girondins, the Mountain, and the Sans-Culottes. The Sans-Culottes were just a band of angry citizens. Unfortunately, the Sans-Culottes were insane radicals. When the prisons became cluttered with common criminals and politicians, they flooded the prisons, massacring hundreds of prisoners. They were often the first to resort to violence, pillaging, and became the main propellants of the use of the guillotine. Even if someone used the word madame or monsieur, they could be subject to the guillotine for suspicion of supporting the old regime of France and holding a haughty manner, which could once again simply result in death. The entire French population was lustful for blood. It wasn't discrimination towards several corrupt and evil high-status politicians. It was genocide towards an entire class. Finally, the Mountain Sans-Culotte coalition was obviously led by the Jacobin leader Robespierre. Robespierre set out to control the military, domestic, political, and economic policy of the convention. He became the head of the Mountain and was inflexible in his dedication and determination to the revolution. Yet, he sought to appease and control the Sans-Culottes. Even though Robespierre created a dictatorship by becoming the figurehead of the committee, he still held the ideas of the revolutionaries at his core, so he could further advance his own issues. In conclusion, the radical ideas of the Sans-Culottes and the overzealous revolutionists of the time left behind a bloody legacy that left a clean slate for France to reconstruct itself on. This basis on equality and liberty, both socially and politically, influences many governments of today, including the United States. Thank you, and to the guillotine!